Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to the Guys Who Stare at Stats, another segmented video today. The NBA playoffs finally here. As always, though, feel free to like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. We always love hearing what you think, especially with a more hectic than usual NBA playoffs. Of course, I'm joined alongside Andrew Santangelo. Andrew, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing very good, very good. Another week gone by, crazy. Another week closer to the end of the semester, but NBA playoffs are here, and time for the Sixers to break the playoff curse.
We will see what happens there. I don't have any dog in the fight this year. I thought Dallas would be here, but, when you trade for Kyrie Irving, you would think that would make your team better, but we took away all our defensive components. That's a story for another time. We're going to focus on the Eastern Conference in this video. The West will be a different video, but starting with the 1-8 matchup, Miami making the trip to Milwaukee for Game 1. This series starts Sunday at 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central. And this is one of those Milwaukee 9-point favorites. Miami having to scrap their way here through the play-in. Had the shocking loss to Atlanta, for some people shocking at least, gave up 61 rebounds in that game. And then able to pull away from Chicago late at the end, but Milwaukee is just sitting, waiting to see who they're going to play.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good series. I know it's the 1-8 matchup, but Jimmy Butler knows how to go out and make games interesting. He can go out and have a big day, and I think he's capable of making this a little bit into a series. I think they kind of have a slight edge in terms of getting off to a hot start, as we might see. You kind of see the March Madness sometimes when you're playing the playing game, and you kind of take that momentum into that first game or so. So I would not be surprised to see the Heat kind of take the first game of this series, and then the Bucks kind of take the next four, and just kind of do that kind of sweep there, the backward sweep almost. But no, I think Jimmy Butler's definitely a great player and good enough to get one game out of the series, if not potentially two. But I'll take Bucks in 5.
That's kind of along the lines I was thinking of. The Miami's not going to get swept in this series. They'll find a way to get a game, maybe two, but other than that, I think Milwaukee takes it. I'll agree with you. I'll go with Bucks in 5 there. That brings us to our next series, the 2 versus the 7. Atlanta winning that play-in game, the 7th place game, and they take on a Boston team that they feel they're just as good as, that kind of 3-team race in the East all season with Milwaukee, Boston, and Philly. And the Celtics 9-point favorites in their game. This series starting Saturday, 3:30 Eastern at 2:30 Central there. And this one could be a fun one, I think, just kind of like you mentioned, if Trae Young's able to get a few big games going his way, DeJounte Murray. But the Celtics are just such a difficult team to deal with.
Yeah, the problem with the Celtics, obviously, is they have a lot of weapons. You can go Tatum, you can go Brown, either one of them. You're comfortable with taking a game-winning shot in the end, and you got like Jaylen Brown's defense too, along with Marcus Smart. So that's where they have the advantage on the defensive side. But yeah, just like Jimmy Butler, Trae Young, and we've seen it in the playoffs before when the Hawks went to the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, they're a solid team. Trae Young can take them. Any given night, he can get hot and go and drop 30 points and get a couple wins. So I do think this is going to be a good series, probably better than some people are thinking. A lot of people, I think the Celtics are just going to kind of take control. But I'll tell you what, the Celtics are going to have a lot of problems with Clint Capella down low. They don't really have much on a matchup down low. I think the Hawks could be a tough matchup for the Celtics. I will end up obviously taking the Celtics, but I'll take the Celtics in 6. I do think Trae Young can steal a game on the road, if not both at home there, and send it to 6.
That's kind of where I'm thinking with this one as well. I'm going to go with Celtics in 5 as well. I think the Hawks are good enough to take a game, but Boston, they're finally getting healthy, which is something they've struggled with a lot this year. But when the Celtics are healthy, they can be a real force already injured-wise. But when they get that way, they're just, I don't know how to explain it. It's just not that great to deal with if you're somebody else. But look at the next series here, the first playoff game of the day on Saturday at 1 o'clock Eastern, noon Central. Brooklyn taking on Philly, and I mean Brooklyn the whole season. Everyone's talked about the Kevin Durant trade and the Kyrie Irving trade, but this Nets team is just not going away. They've just been here the entire time. Yes, they moved down to 6, but they're still ready to try to get into a big series with somebody. They just have to walk into Philadelphia and do what most people would probably think is the improbable. The Sixers are an 8.5-point favorite.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough series for the Nets. I don't see any way they can pull this off. Getting rid of all their top players. Obviously, Ben Simmons is out once again, to no one's surprise. I mean, yeah, Bridge is obviously a fantastic player, and he'll get his own points, but there's not much on that team elsewhere. So I'll take the Sixers in 4 in this series. I guess maybe the Nets can steal a game, but this series won't go past 5 games. I just don't see how the Nets can go out and get a game. I mean, the Sixers probably have arguably the best 4 players on the court at all given times.
Yeah, this is one where I don't see any way the Nets could win the series, much alone get it to a 6-game series. I think if the Nets steal a game somewhere, that would be the best case scenario for them. I'm with you. I think Philadelphia gets a sweep here, but other than that, for the Sixers, I mean, it's a good warm up. I would have to say. I mean, you would obviously know the Sixers better than I do, but they seem to be, having a good time out there. You had the whole MVP race, and that has seemingly died down. Embiid, I would think, is going to be the MVP.
You'd hope so after that 50-point performance against the Celtics. But no, yeah. But, I mean, everyone knows the history with Harden and Embiid injury-wise. So anytime you can get out in 4 games, give them some more rest going into the playoffs, especially when if you do make a run, you'll get the Celtics and the Bucks if all chalk happens on the road. So you want as much rest as possible. So it's big to get this series done in no more than 5.
And that will bring us to the final series here in the East. The Knicks taking on the Cavs, the 4-5 by far the most intriguing matchup, I would think, of all the series in the East. This one starting Saturday, 6 Eastern, 5 Central. And it is a 5.5-point favorites for the Cavs here. And kind of, I would say, the most interesting, intriguing series here because these are both teams that I think could really just go back and forth the entire time.
Yeah, these are 2 fun teams to watch in the sense of a lot of young talent, a lot of spread out, a lot of guys that gel together and are playing well. Obviously, it's gonna be tough, to get past the Bucks or something if once whoever wins this does. But I mean, I think these 2 teams are both set up for this year. You get that playoff experience. Next year, you take off. One of those kind of things, kind of like you saw the Grizzlies this year. So this is a tough series to pick, though. I mean, they got guards all over. I like Julius Randle, but Jared Allen's obviously a solid player as well. Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. I mean, this series is going to go back and forth. I think we get a 7-game series. I think this will be the only one in the East, obviously. It's the last one out of the Eastern Conference. But no, I'm going to go 7 games, and in the end, I like the Knicks to, I guess if you want to call it an upset, 5-4. But they get past the Cavs and get the job done. I like those guys a little bit better than I like Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle better than the Garland and Mitchell pairing. So we'll see. But this is going to be the probably top 2. We'll get to my favorite series, but this is probably number 2 in terms of all-around talent and funness here coming up.
Yeah, and I agree with you. This is the game that I think is the hardest to pick. I think this is the series that you look at it. I agree this is going to go, I would think, 6 minimum, 7 more than likely. But it's one of those that this is a coin flip series to me. I mean, both sides have equal talent, I guess you could say. Donovan Mitchell, obviously the star for Cleveland. Julius Randle getting a lot of help as well with Jalen Brunson, who's having another great season. You mentioned Jared Allen. At the end of the day, though, I think Game 7 being in Cleveland does help them enough. Being a young team, you get that home crowd behind you. You have the veteran experience there from Mitchell. I think Cleveland's able to find a way to get the job done at home. If it was the other way around, I would think the Knicks win it as well. I think really it comes down to that home court advantage in Game 7 there. But, folks, as always, thank you for watching, and stick around because we've got the Western Conference video coming out later today. So, until then, once again, feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, and we'll see you all next time. Have a good one, everybody.